Hi, everybody, and welcome to ProLine as we head to the conference championship round of the NFL playoffs. Two great matchups with the 49ers heading east to play Atlanta, and the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots hooking up again. That's become a little bit of a familiar refrain. That should be fun as well. We're going to look at both those games on today's show. And Jeff Stott from LVSS will be joining us with a man on the street piece later on. Jim Feist is here. John Cranton is here as well. And my name's Dave Cokin. We are glad to have you guys with us and hope you're enjoying what you've seen so far in the NFL playoffs. We'll let you know about our specials and start with myself. I guess you enjoyed the NFL playoffs if you were on for my plays last weekend because the two big plays both got there. Seahawks certainly wasn't easy, but Seattle plus the 2.5 or 3 was a victory. And the other game that I was strong on was the 49ers, and they came through very easily against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay got on the board first with the interception, and from that point on, it was a blowout for San Francisco. Basketball is going well right now, and last Saturday, 6-3 day, 4-1 in the college hoops. Top plays Wisconsin, North Dakota State. Things are pretty good right now. Sunday was real strong. I'm happy with the results. I'm in sync, and right now, what I've scheduled this weekend is a 5-play college countdown for $5. That's right, $5. 5 big plays, $1. I count them down, 5 to 1. So you're going to get one really good play in there for sure, and a chance to make some big bucks. $5 all you're spending, 5 plays, $5. The 5-play college hoops countdown at 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. And don't forget, for free plays every day, all you need to do is text Cokin, C-O-K-I-N, to 313131. You'll get back that day's free selection on a text message. Jim, you nailed it on Saturday, and that was highlighted by the NFL playoff total of the year, which that baby almost went over the total twice. That's how easy that was. That's how you're supposed to win a big play, right?
45-31. One team had the 45 all by themselves. Of course, that was San Francisco 49ers. I really love, when those kind of games actually win easy and it's not some kind of squeaker because, personally I have a lot on it. And then I always want the customers to feel comfortable with it. We don't always win here, but we always put up a winning effort. For example, yesterday in basketball, college, it wasn't the best of days, it wasn't the worst of days, but it wasn't a winning day. But overall, we are winning in college hoops. Pro hoops, of course, we're very solid in pro hoops. Football, we're coming to the end. We only have 3 games left, but they're big ones, and they're very important, and everybody's going to be watching them. Everybody wants to win them. I can honestly tell you, even though there's only 3 games left, I have a huge, huge play on one of these games. And you want to find out about that. But I was 10-5 on Saturday with all my plays, including the NFL playoff total of the year, which we talked about. Sunday, 3-0 sweep. Also, 3 college basketball games of the year this Saturday, $50 a piece online, but you get all 3 for $10 if you make the call to 1-866-841-1655. They're guaranteed to go 3-0, or the rest of the month is free. That's right, 1-866-841-1655. And if you want to win, what Dave is doing great. I follow what Dave does, and believe me, you don't want to have your money on the opposite side of any of this stuff.
Later on, we'll hear from Jeff Stott, who's got a college basketball conference game of the year going this weekend. And Jim, NHL, it's back. And listen, it just, this is the year. I don't care whether you watch the games or not. In fact, I'd say that it probably, I don't know how much of the game I'm going to watch, but I can tell you this. Last year in the NBA, because of the unusual schedule that took place, scheduling dynamics were absolutely huge. And it really paid off. If you knew how to play the schedule last year, you made a lot of money in the NBA. I think it's going to be the same thing in the NHL. So I'm going to urge everybody to get in on either one of our packages. We're going to do the same thing. Just make the call and get in with Jim and myself. 99 days for $99. That's how many days there are in the NHL season this year. 99 days. And again, I'm not suggesting to anybody that you suddenly become a hockey fan. In fact, it's such a garage league that I don't know how anybody is a fan of that league. If you're a fan of winning money, and I like money, get in on this. 99 days for $99, including the playoffs and NHL Game of the Year, from Jim, 1-866-841-1655, or from me, 1-866-896-1629. Get it. In fact, you might want to get both packages because it's not like we're going to have the same plays all the time. But I will tell you, there is going to be money to be made out there just playing the scheduling dynamics. There's no way this won't work, okay? So get in on those hockey offers and, take out your frustration with not seeing hockey on your bookmaker. How's that? Okay, let's look at some football. 49ers and Falcons. The 49ers won their way here. No question about that. They were dominant last week against the Green Bay Packers. You can argue that Atlanta really got lucky. John, let's bring you into the conversation here. That's my thoughts are Atlanta it's not just that, they got that drive at the end of the game to get the field goal. They actually didn't put up as many points as they should have in the first half when Seattle was really struggling. And the Seahawks basically gave them the game in the first half by squandering 3 opportunities themselves. You had the Lynch fumble, you had the 4th down that didn't work down around the 11-yard line, and then the screw-up at the end of the half. Atlanta was really lucky to get out of that game last week. But does that mean that they might be a go-win team right now? Because, listen, when a team wins as lucky as that, oftentimes it'll carry over. And they'll play a lot better the next week and win more deservedly. Think that might happen here?
Yeah, there's no reason to blow a 20-0 lead at home when you've got a bye like that. That was really embarrassing, and you can see all the pressure. Even the TV announcers are talking about, boy, this team just has blown it in the playoffs. I got to believe the players and the coaching staff were very much aware of that and were thinking of that in the last minute. Very lucky to win this game. The way that I look at this one, though, is the total, and there's 2 reasons for it. One is the venue, and the other one would be the philosophy of the coaches. Now, the venue was indoors, so that helps with offense and throwing the football and running, and it's carpet. And then there's the offensive philosophy. Jim Harbaugh, if you watch what he did against Green Bay, this is a guy who goes for the jugular. He does not get a lead and then sit on it. I was very impressed when they had the ball pinned at their own 8-yard line with the lead late in that game against Green Bay. No holds barred. They just moved it down the field about 91 yards for a clinching touchdown. That's his style, to be aggressive and attacking. The Atlanta side of the ball, I have questions about Mike Smith, but not the offensive coordinator, Dirk Cutter. This is a guy who has always gone for the jugular, a pass-first attack. In past years, this team was all about running the football, totally flip-flopped this year because of Dirk Cutter. So you combine the philosophies with the game being indoors, I see this being a very high-scoring ball game.
Makes sense, Jim.
Well, obviously, Dave, you and I have some big plays on these games, and there's only 2 of them, so we can only talk in generalities here. You talk about the aggressiveness of Harbaugh. He obviously is a pretty aggressive guy. When you bench a guy that's completing 70% of his passes, took you to the championship game last year, and you put in a guy that has no real experience, that's aggressive. And, he has an instinct. He knows the game. I was wrong. I thought he made a mistake, and maybe it'll come back to bite him in the ass, and the kid will make a big mistake that Alex Smith wouldn't make, and he'll end up losing. That's always a possibility because Kaepernick is very talented. Obviously, he's got everything going for him. He can be a superstar in this league, barring injuries for a long, long time. He will be more prone to making mistakes than Alex Smith. And that's the reason a lot of people are a little nervous about San Francisco, because of that fact. You come here and you get down near the end and he makes one critical mistake like he did in the 2 St. Louis games, or the one specific St. Louis game down in St. Louis where they lost that game. he clearly gave the game away at the end. And that's rookies. That's what they do. That may grab them here. Everybody in Vegas has been down on Atlanta all year, which is why you see a road favorite. I saw one place go to 5 on this game. It opened one little spot opened it up. 1 at Atlanta, immediately went to 1 San Francisco. Then it was 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. A couple of places went to 5. And now the value players are coming back and grabbing. And some of these guys are the guys that bet early on the favorite and came in and grabbed the 5, so they create themselves a little spread middle there. I really feel that, barring the question marks about Kaepernick, that San Francisco is the best team. Physically on defense, they're monsters. They're very similar to Seattle in that way. Seattle losing their pass rusher last week really helped Atlanta quite a bit. And that isn't an issue today with San Francisco. They're coming in pretty well, I mean, as healthy as you can possibly be this time of the year after playing all these games. San Francisco's the best team, which is why they're favored. People aren't really giving the home field advantage, that much credence right now. They're just going with who runs the ball the best consistently, who plays the best defense consistently. And then when you look at Atlanta and how they handled these read option type quarterbacks all year long, they didn't do that well. Cam Newton arguably should have beaten them twice. Now, in the second game, Atlanta had everything clinched and they didn't really play that hard. But they really didn't defend him very well. So every time they've come up against a quarterback similar to Kaepernick, they have not really done that well. And with the injury to the defensive lineman, who's the name I'm missing, Dave? No, the Atlanta's defense. I can't think of his name right now. He has a short foot, ankle. Yeah. He's the most critical defender I think Atlanta has, and he's questionable. He'll play, but he's not going to be all that good. I think that's a big edge for San Francisco. All you have here going for you is got the home field advantage. I think the best team is the favored team. The question is that going to hold up? Can they go there and cover the spread?
I found out something last week. I did not know that the University of Nevada had a medical school and that Colin Kaepernick had attended it and become a doctor. Because that was what he did last week. That was a colonoscopy. He performed a colonoscopy on the Green Bay Packers.
Who's writing your material, Dave?
Somebody doing this right.
What a weapon that guy is. Now you see why he did things. And Alex Smith is a good quarterback. I think he's actually underrated. But this guy is he can do things that most human beings can't do. Let's put it that way. He gets out on he turns the corner. It's over. It is over if he turns the corner. That speed is amazing. What a weapon. And by the way, we're seeing, this is the 49ers, another example of how it used to be that college coaches took from NFL coaches and tried to put that into their game. It's the other way now. We're seeing more and more elements of the college game being put into the NFL. And coaches that are not, and this is why to me, if you've got a head coach opening, I think you scour the colleges to try and find a guy with a progressive mind and bring him in. These guys, the old days of college coaches can't make it in the NFL, boy, they are gone. That's where the best coaches, the best NFL coaches are coming out of the college ranks right now. And actually, in a little bit, we're going to talk coaching because our Twitter question of the week applies to that. But before we do that, and before we get to the Ravens and Patriots, we're going to check in with Jeff Sod from LVSS. Jeff has his first conference game of the year going on Saturday in college basketball. Jeff, how about it?
Thanks, Dave. A free prop bet coming up on the AFC title game. First, last month I nailed my bowl game of the year as Vandy blew out NC State 38-24. My first college basketball conference game of the year goes on Saturday. You can get that along with a week of pro and college basketball, including a high roller play tonight. All this just $10. Call LVSS 1-866-8575-8916. Your free play is a prop on the AFC Championship game. QB Tom Brady under 2.5 touchdown passes. The weather is cold, and Brady has a great ground attack to help him. 7th in the NFL in rushing with a balanced attack he hasn't had since 2004. In last year's AFC Championship game against the Ravens, it was outdoors in the cold, and while the Pats won, Brady wasn't that sharp. No touchdowns, 2 picks, 239 yards passing. Play Tom Brady under 2.5 touchdown passes. And once again, my first college basketball conference game of the year goes on Saturday. You can get that along with a week of pro and college basketball, including a high roller tonight. All this just $10. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. Back to you, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. And knock 'em dead this weekend. I kind of previewed the Twitter question of the week. You can follow us on Twitter at Jim Feist Sports or on Facebook at Proline TV. And we will go through both accounts and pick a question each week to use on the show. This week it's from Cindy Carlisle of Brockton, Mass., my neck of the woods. And I mentioned that it has to do with coaching. This is a good question. Everyone talks about quarterback play this late in the season, but what about the coaches? Rank the 4 remaining NFL coaches. You've got Bill Belichick, the 2 Harbaughs, and Mike Smith. And my order would be Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, and that's a virtual tie at the top. But just based on experience, I think I'd go with Belichick. John Harbaugh is right there. And then I think there's a pretty big drop-off to Mike Smith, quite frankly. I don't think he is as sharp a coach as the other 3. And that would be my order. Jim, how about yours?
Ranking these 4 coaches?
Yeah.
Is that the question? Well, I think you have to look at Bill Belichick. I mean, they've been to several Super Bowls with Brady. He's probably the most, up until this stage, for the last decade, he's been the most innovative coach in football. He does things, he uses players that nobody ever heard of, and they become stars and integral to their offense and defense. And, he doesn't have any trouble getting these guys because nobody else goes after them. And yet all of a sudden they become superstars. You look at the Edelmans and the White Woodheads and all. I mean, where do these guys come from? He finds them. Now, maybe he has good connections in the colleges. He picks up stuff that other people don't work on, but hats off to him for doing that. Somebody asked me this morning if Brady retires, will Belichick still be good? I say yes. I think it's the system that Bill has put together. He's not the guy that was in Cleveland that didn't do all that well. He's advanced. He's evolved.
They were 11-5 the year that Brady was out. That was Matt Castle was the quarterback. So yeah,
right.
Coached them.
Yeah, and Matt Castle has done nothing since. That's exactly what I said to this gentleman that proposed the question. I think Belichick could win with a lot of different people because he's a mastermind. He does it well. Now we're seeing some of that stuff going on with these other guys too. The game is very physical, and these read option quarterbacks are very prone to getting hurt because of the way they're running the ball. It's not college. They're getting hit by guys that are bigger, stronger, faster than what they see in the colleges. And when you look at what happened to RG3, what a shame that is. I'm not going to get into where the fault lies with that, but that kind of thing is going to happen a lot with this type of what we really need. Either you have to slow down the game or you have to have more people on the roster because at some point in time you're just going to run out all your quarterbacks. So you might end up every team having 3 quarterbacks just to protect yourself. You brought up the question, you mentioned about Alex Smith. And I know I'm rambling here, but we're talking football, and I assume the people that are listening are interested in going down the line. We're at the end of the football season. But looking forward, we had a lot of coaches, general managers fired. We had some offensive and defensive coaches fired or hired somewhere else. So we've got a lot of shifting going around. And these teams that you're looking at today are going to be totally different next year because of the philosophies of the incoming people, because you're going to have to replace people like McCoy at Denver and the offensive and defensive coordinators at Seattle that are going to probably be gone. And all these head coaches, Lovie Smith going, you're going to go from a defensive-oriented coach that has absolutely no idea how to build an offensive line to a guy, Trestman, who absolutely knows how to do that. And they brought in an offensive coordinator that absolutely knows how to do that. you're looking at a changeover where you're going to see teams going from first to last and last to first in 2013, 2014 because of all these coaching moves. And it's going to be extremely interesting, and I love it because if you do your work and you're on top of this stuff from day one when this is all happening, just think of the money you can make going into the season and with the advanced future tickets on over and under wins. Believe me, not only this weekend, but going forward at the start of the 2013 season, I'm super excited about pro football.
Yeah, by the way, that old adage of defense wins championships, it might in some sports, but not in the NFL anymore. With the way the rules are now, offense wins championships. And I think that's pretty clear with what we're seeing. These 4 teams that are left, they were all offensive first teams. Even the conservative team, the Falcons, at least their coach, somewhat conservative by nature, they're an offensive football team. We certainly know that New England is offensive. San Francisco's got a good defense, but it's their offense that's gotten them here. And Baltimore's defense is, quite frankly, it's old and not that effective anymore, and yet they're still playing. Well, let's look at that game. How about this? Bill Belichick is 18-7 in the playoffs now as a head coach. He'll try and make it 19-7 as the Patriots play host to the Ravens. John, the interesting thing here, there's no question about New England is the better football team. I think everybody would basically agree with that. But it's a big number, and Baltimore now has to be feeling, they have to be feeling as though they can't lose, that they're a team of destiny because of the way they won last weekend. That mentally, this Baltimore team is really dangerous right now.
Yeah, you got 2 things you have to think about with Baltimore. First would be the momentum and the confidence. The pressure is off them. They weren't really supposed to get this far off of that euphoric win. On the other hand, all the way out to Denver, playing in the thin mountain air, a double overtime game, and now having to go on the road again. Very tough situational handicapping spot. The way I look at this one, actually, is the weather. That's what I'm completely focused on. Early in the week, they were saying about 7 or 8 mile an hour winds. The last couple of days, they're projecting 19 mile an hour winds. Now, this is the night game, Sunday night in New England. It's going to start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Talking about 19 mile an hour winds in the cold. Boy, that's where I wonder about how good this New England offense is going to be, because it's predicated on throwing the ball. In fact, speaking of throwing, Joe Flacco hasn't been completing a lot of passes, but he loves to chuck it deep. Well, with this kind of weather conditions, I wonder if he's going to be able to do that or have success. And then there's the Patriot passing game. If you're talking windy conditions against a Baltimore defense that has Nada and Lewis and Terrell Suggs back, boy, this might be a game where you just grind it out with slow, safe passes, much less scoring. And keep this in mind. This is the 3rd meeting in the last calendar year between these teams. That AFC title game was low scoring, 23-20 last year. And Tom Brady in those 2 games has a grand total of 1 touchdown pass. So he has not lit up this Baltimore defense over the last 12 months.
No, you're right, John. This particular team, the Ravens, have given Brady trouble. The way they play defense, they have a lot of veterans on that defense that know how to mask coverages. They're a little old, and they might be a little worn out because I think they've probably defended about 160 to 180 plays in the last 2 weeks. The Colts got a lot of yardage on them. Denver should have won the game except for some very, very bad coaching and player decisions that happened at the end of the game. But they had to do a lot of traveling. They flew out to Denver, came back, now have to come up to New England. The big advantage, it's the same thing that happened with the Seattle situation, almost the same thing. Seattle had, of course, traveled twice. But that does have an effect. This is an older team. It's the last hurrah. It's either this game or the next game for Ray Lewis. And that's a big emotional lift for this club as well. So looking at the history, you would say, hey, you got to give the Ravens a chance. Looking at the situation with the age and the travel and all the defensive plays they've had to fight through the last 2 weeks, you have to give the edge to Brady and company. But then, of course, losing Gronkowski is huge. But they've been playing without him. He's a very tough guy to defend, almost impossible, especially in the red zone. But they're not going to have him But the guy comes off the bench, Vereen, and he becomes a superstar of the week.
Yep.
And that's what Belichick does. He somehow finds that guy on the bench that comes in and does the job. It's going to be a hell of a game.
I can tell you this, two things that I'm certain of. One, is that the weather forecast now means absolutely nothing. Because I'm from New England. I grew up there. Been out here a long time in Las Vegas, but I grew up there, and I can tell you that there's basically no such thing as a 72-hour forecast in New England. Okay, it changes like that. So what you need to do is check on Sunday to see what the current forecast is. But if there is big wind, it favors New England. Brady can operate what is a much shorter, more exact and precise passing game, as opposed to the Ravens who love to throw deep. It's not good to throw deep in 19-mile-an-hour winds. That would not be good for Baltimore. The line is really big, but, I mean, and I'm not going to lock myself into this. So this is not a selection by any means. It's Wednesday, and I'm not locking myself into a Sunday play with those weather conditions. But if the winds are like this, it helps New England, and it helps the under.
Actually, Dave, it's not a bad idea. I know people that will simply take a situation and they'll say, okay, bad weather will really affect the total a lot. You're not going to see a lot more points in this game if there's bad weather. You're going to see a lot less points in the game if there's bad weather. And the line is made for neutral conditions, normal conditions. So a lot of people will take advances on this game, and they'll take the under and not worry too much about what happens, because if it dips, they're going to have a great number. And if it stays normal, it's not going to move very. You might see a 52. You're not going to see a 54.
No.
So, but you might end up seeing a 46. You could end up seeing 46, if the weather is super bad. So, a lot of people take advances on stuff like this.
Well, that actually leads into what I was going to do for my best bet on the show this week, which is, and it's not even a play, but it's call it a smart future bet that I'm using for the best bet, is under the current number 52 in the Patriots-Ravens game, just because of the fact that there's a good chance that this number will drop. I don't think it'll take a huge drop just because of the teams that are involved. But if this weather holds, at least the forecast holds, I think it will come down some. So I'm going to try and set myself up for that middle opportunity on the total. And I'll also be able to hedge one way or the other, so I have a good chance to make a profit. But I will make that my best bet, under 52 in that football game, just based on the possibility of the weather. But once again, the offers, just quickly on the NHL, it's a $99 investment, basically, to play the schedule for 99 days and make money. Doesn't matter whether you like the sport or not. If you like money, get in this. 1-866-896-1629. And my 5-play college hoops countdown for Saturday. 5 big plays for $5. Make the call on that one. 1-866-896-1629. Jim, you've got your NHL package. Same deal. And also some great stuff this weekend with some really big games in college basketball.
Well, yeah, Dave, it's been a great season. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching, and following us all year long. And we still have a lot more shows. We've got basketball we're going to be dealing with ongoing basis. I have a 3 college basketball games of the year going Saturday. There's $50 a piece if you buy them online. That's going to cost $150. Now, this is a special. But you can get all 3 of them for just $10 total. Three games, $10, guaranteed 3-0. The rest of the month is free. Just call 1-866-841-1655. And if you want daily winners sent to you free on your cell phone, just text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131. But for that $10 special, make the phone call for those 3 big plays to 1-866-841-1655.
Well, we do have one more football show coming up, the Super Bowl preview show. We're also going to be doing basketball shows, and you want to make sure and check out this week's Pro Line edition in hoops as well. We will not have a Pro Line hockey show. We urge you to take advantage of the hockey offers. No Pro Line hockey show, because we can't pronounce the names of most of the players anyway. All right, that's it. For John Cranton and Jim Feist, I'm Dave Cokin. Thanks again for watching. Enjoy the conference championships this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.